Here's how every Elder Scrolls game opens. You're locked up, chains on your wrist, guards everywhere, and nobody gives a damn about you. Fast forward to the credits, and you've literally killed gods and bent reality to your will. That's definitely solid game design, but there's something way deeper going on here. The gods in Elder Scrolls are not your friends. Most want you dead, the rest are already corpses, but one of those dead gods, he orchestrated everything you've ever done in these games. Every quest, dragon fight, every world-ending crisis you've solved, it was all his idea from the start. And here's the kicker. You're not just the hero, you're the test subject. Let's start with a version of history everyone believes. Even the gods bought into this story. Before anything existed, before time, before worlds, there were beings called Itada, pure energy floating around in eternal bliss in a place called Aetherius. No suffering, no loss, just endless perfection. Then Lorkhan shows up with a proposal. He pitches the other spirits. What if we built our own reality, something completely different from this place? The elves kept detailed records of what happened next, and according to them, Lorkhan pulled off the greatest scam in cosmic history. Or did he? Other Elnophae arrived on Nirn, scattered amid the confused jumble of the shattered worlds, wandering and finding each other over the years. Eventually, the wandering Elnophae found the hidden land of old Elnophae, and were amazed and joyful to find their kin living amid the splendor of ages past. The wandering Elnophae expected to be welcomed into the peaceful realm, but the old Elnophae looked on them as degenerates, fallen from their former glory. Fallen from glory. That phrase tells you everything about the elven perspective. Creating Mundus, our mortal world, came at a price. The gods had to tear off pieces of themselves, their infinite power, their immortality, their divine nature. They became smaller, weaker, trapped inside their own creation. From where the elves sit, Mundus isn't beautiful. It's a cage made of flesh and pain where their divine spark gets weaker every generation. The Altmer believe Lorkhan didn't give them a gift. He built a trap and convinced them to walk into it. This perceived betrayal shaped everything about elven culture. Why are they obsessed with pure bloodlines? Why do they spend entire centuries trying to unmake creation itself? Because they believe they were tricked out of paradise. So the other Aedra got payback. They hunted Lorkhan down, ripped his heart from his chest, and hurled it into the world below. Then they tore his body apart and flung the pieces into the sky. Those 2 moons hanging over every Elder Scrolls game, that's literally his corpse, a warning carved into the heavens. So, case closed, justice served, end of story, right? Well, what if the elves had it completely backwards? What if their prison was actually a training ground? And what if this so-called traitor wasn't trying to trap anyone? What if he was trying to set us free? Head down to Hammerfell and the Red Guards will tell you a totally different story. They don't call him a trickster, they call him Sep, the Hungry One. Picture this massive serpent called Sadakal, eating its own tail forever. Creation, destruction, creation again on an endless loop. The spirits had to learn this weird cosmic dance called the Walkabout just to survive the chaos. Sep was different. He felt this gnawing need for something more than wandering through infinity. Finally, tired of helping Tall Papa, Sep went and gathered the rest of the old skins and balled them up, tricking spirits to help him, promising them this was how you reached the new world, by making one out of the old. These spirits loved this way of living as it was easier, no more jumping from place to place. That skin ball became our world. Sep is Lorkhan, but look at how he did it. Hunger. Raw primal need. Hunger isn't evil though, it's life itself, the drive to fill a void, strive for something real. Lorkhan felt this cosmic hunger for meaning and acted on it. The spirits who followed him have something solid instead of endless chaos. Finally, they could build something lasting. This split create 2 types of descendants. The old Elnophae became elves, still bitter about losing their good old days, viewing anyone who adapted as fallen degenerates. But the wandering Elnophae, they became humans. The myths say they were toughened by their long struggle to survive Nirn. There's the real point of Lorkhan's plan. The struggle wasn't punishment, it was the entire purpose. Death, time, scarcity, these weren't glitches in the system, rather they were features designed to force growth. Think about what the spirits were before. Powerful but static, perfect but purposeless. They couldn't change, couldn't grow, they couldn't become anything new. Lorkhan introduced limitations as a catalyst. By creating death, he gave them a reason to live. By making them mortal, he gave them reason to become extraordinary. The elves, however, saw a prison. Humanity found a gymnasium, a cosmic training ground designed to forge something the perfect, unchanging gods could never become. Beings who write their own destiny. But why build this brutal testing ground at all? The answer isn't in some dusty old prophecy, it's hidden in the actual architecture of reality itself. They call it the Tower. And once you understand what this really is, everything clicks into place. We're going to be looking now at the 36 Lessons of Vivek, the autobiography of a living god and probably the most insane text in gaming. It reads like cosmic poetry written during a fever dream, but buried in all that madness is the real reason Lorkhan did everything. You need to understand two symbols, the Serpent and the Tower. The Serpent is a constellation, but it doesn't behave like the others. While every other star sign follows predictable patterns, the Serpent wanders wherever it wants. It represents chaos, change, and endless struggle. Basically, it's Lorkhan's ghost still pushing the universe forward even after death. The Tower represents reality itself, the divine framework holding existence together, but Vivek reveals something incredible hidden inside it. The secret tower within the tower is the shape of the only name of God. I. Your individual consciousness. You. Here's the nuclear truth at the heart of the Elder Scrolls. The entire universe might be the dream of a sleeping godhead. Everything that exists, every person, every dragon, every cheese wheel could just be a thought in this cosmic mind. Most beings who figure this out vanish immediately. They zero-sum right out of existence. Take the Dwemer, for instance. Their entire race disappeared during the Battle of Red Mountain. One moment, they're the most advanced civilization in history, the next, empty ruins and silence. And the prevailing theory is that they discovered they were imaginary and couldn't handle it. But there's another path. You can realize you're part of the dream, but refuse to disappear. You stare the universe down and scream, "I exist," so hard that reality has no choice but to listen. You become lucid in the Godhead's dream. This is Chim, God mode for mortals, the ability to reshape reality because you understand what reality actually is. Now, is this enlightenment or the ultimate delusion? Drop your theory down in the comments below. Lorkhan planned this from the beginning. He didn't build a prison or even just a school, he built a ladder. A way for souls to climb the tower of reality and achieve Chim. He sacrificed his own godhood so mortals could steal theirs. The proof? He left it beating in the center of the world. The heart of Lorkhan, what Vivek calls the secret triangular gate, divine cheat code proving mortals can ascend to godhood. We saw this work in Morrowind. The Tribunal used the heart to become gods. Dagoth did the same. They proved Lorkhan's theory. Mortals can climb higher than their creators. But remember, every Elder Scrolls game is literally Lorkhan's plan in action. You start as a prisoner with no identity. Through brutal trials, you forge yourself into something impossible. The Neravine, the champion of Cyrodiil, the Dragonborn. You begin as nothing and become someone who permanently reshapes the world. Your journey as the player is the path to Chim, made interactive. You are the living proof that Lorkhan was right. But this path to godhood can be corrupted, twisted into something dark. We found out what happens when someone tries to skip the struggle and create a fake paradise instead. The sky turned red and hell itself invaded Tamriel. The Oblivion Crisis wasn't just a demon invasion, it was the final exam for all of mortality. On one side, Mankar Camoran and his mythic Dawn cult. Easy to dismiss them as generic bad guys serving Mehrunes Dagon, but listen to what Camoran actually preaches. He's taken the old elven philosophy and pushed it to its logical extreme. In his commentaries, Camoran argues that Mundus is exactly what the elves always claimed, a prison. But he flips the script completely. He says the Aedra are the real tyrants who trapped everyone here, and Mehrunes Dagon is actually the liberator come to set us free. The tower touches all the mantles of heaven, Brother Noviates, and by its apex, one can be as he will. More, be as he was and yet changed for all else on that path for those that walk after. This is the third key of Numantia, and the secret of how mortals became makers, and makers back to mortals. He's offering an escape hatch from the arena, a return to static perfection the gods lost. He wants to hit the cosmic reset button. On the other side stands you, the champion of Cyrodiil, another prisoner, another nobody, but the dying emperor sees potential in you.
You are the one from my dreams. Then the stars were right. And this is the day.
Your entire journey embodies what we call the Serpent's Path. You don't escape struggle, you master it. Gate after gate, battle after battle, you grow stronger. You find Martin Septim, a simple priest with dragon blood, and watch him transform into a true king. Then comes the endgame. Mehrunes Dagon himself smashes through into the Imperial City, a literal god of destruction here to end everything. Martin faces an impossible choice. He holds the Amulet of Kings, the ancient covenant between mortals and gods. Dragon blood flows through his veins. He could try to rule, try to fight as a mortal king, but instead, he makes the ultimate Lorkhanic decision. He shatters the amulet, unleashing its accumulated power, merges with the divine essence within it, channeling Akatosh, the dragon god of time himself. He becomes a golden avatar, not to seize power, but to give it up. He sacrifices everything to protect the mortal arena, to keep the struggle alive for everyone else.
The amulet is shattered. Dagon is defeated. With the dragon's blood and the Amulet of Kings, we have sealed the gates of oblivion forever.
This moment vindicates everything Lorkhan believed. Martin, a descendant of the Dragonborn emperors blessed by Akatosh, willingly abandons his mortal existence to save mortality itself. He proves that mortals forged in Mundus can make choices even the original gods couldn't. In that blazing moment when Martin as Akatosh destroys Dagon, something incredible happens. The ancient philosophical war ends. Since the beginning, creation has been split between Anu, order and stasis, and Padome, change and chaos. Akatosh represents pure Anuic order. Lorkhan embodied Padomaic change. But Martin, channeling an Anuic god, chooses a Padomaic solution. Self-sacrifice. The dragon acts with the serpent's heart. The war that began creation finally ends. And here's something wild. We know exactly what happens to the champion of Cyrodiil after this. In the Shivering Isles expansion, you literally become Shogorath, the Daedric Prince of Madness. 200 years later in Skyrim, when you meet Shogorath, he drops hints about being at the Oblivion Crisis.
You know, I was there for that whole sordid affair. Marvelous time. Butterflies, blood, a fox, a severed head, ho ho ho, and the cheese to die for.
That's you, the prisoner who started with nothing and became a literal god, living proof that Lorkhan's experiment worked. So let's talk about you, the player, because that's the real genius of Lorkhan's design. Every Elder Scrolls protagonist is what they call a prisoner, not just literally locked up at the start, but metaphysically unbound from the chains of fate that bind everyone else. Sotha Sil, one of the tribunal gods, explains it best.
The prisoner wields great power, making reality of metaphor. We will need you before the end.
While everyone else in Tamriel is locked into their destiny by history, culture, and causality, the prisoner can see the door out of the cell. They exist beyond time, beyond fate. They're the only beings who can truly choose. This is why you can reload saves, why you can make different choices, why you can reshape the world through mods. You're not breaking the game, you're exercising the exact power Lorkhan designed the prison to have. Think about what makes each protagonist special. The Nerevarine in Morrowind is not just some random prisoner. You're potentially the reincarnation of an ancient hero, but more importantly, you're immune to disease and aging. You literally can't be bound by mortality's normal rules. As the champion of Cyrodiil, you mantle a Daedric prince and become Shogorath, from prisoner to god in one game. And as the last Dragonborn, you have the soul of a dragon in a mortal body. You're already a walking contradiction, a fusion of the divine and mortal that shouldn't exist. Each one starts as nothing, no past, no connections, no destiny, and each one ends by fundamentally rewriting the rules of reality. But here's the thing about being a prisoner. Not every prisoner becomes a hero. The potential is there, but the choice is yours. You can ignore the main quest completely, become a thief, join the Dark Brotherhood, or just pick flowers for 500 hours. That freedom to choose or not choose is the entire point. Lorkhan didn't create a railroad to godhood. He created an arena where godhood was possible for those willing to struggle for it. The prisoner is his ultimate creation, a being with the potential to transcend everything, but only through their own choices. Some fans theorize that certain heroes are also Shezarines, avatars of Lorkhan himself. Click this video to see that theory. Palinal Whitestrake, the genocidal knight who helped found the Empire, might have been one. Wulfharth, the ancient Nordic king who came back from the dead multiple times, probably was. Maybe even Tiber Septim, who achieved Chim and became the god Talos. But whether you're a Shezarine or just a prisoner, the result is the same. You're proof that Lorkhan was right. Mortals, given struggle and choice, can surpass their creators. We don't play as gods slumming around in armor, we play as mortals becoming something greater than gods ever were. The armor isn't wearing gods, the gods are watching mortals outgrow them. Lorkhan was never a traitor, he was an architect building something unprecedented. Mundus was never a prison, it was a forge for creating the impossible. The heroes of these games are living proof that his terrible, beautiful experiment succeeded. So remember that every time you play an Elder Scrolls game, you're participating in a cosmic experiment about the nature of consciousness, free will, and transcendence. You're the test subject who always passes the test. Lorkhan is dead. His heart is gone, his body decorates the night sky, but his plan, it lives on in every choice you make. Thanks so much for watching, click subscribe, and let me know what you think down in the comments. And click here to watch my breakdown of the dark truth behind Elden Ring Night Reign. It's absolutely wild.